to Dan Geltrude, Geltrude & Company founder, Luke Lloyd, Strategic Wealth Partners Investment. So Luke, to you first on this. This is sort of out of left field, and I'm just wondering if you're worried about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This just adds to the fire, right? So there's a lot of things in the economy completely out of whack right now. You know, supply chain issues, inflation, COVID cases spiking. I mean, Goldman already is saying that there's like a 35% chance of a recession. I actually think it's closer to a coin flip chance that there's going to be a recession. I mean, look, the perfect storm for a recession comes when you have commodity inflation, Federal Reserve policy errors, and a geopolitical event. We already are in that hurricane. So, and on top of that, most people forget that the economy was slowing before all of these issues were present in the Russian-Ukraine situation. So, you know, commodity inflation and inflation in general isn't showing any signs of slowing. The Federal Reserve messed up the first time they used the word transitory over a year ago. And these geopolitical tensions are going to take months, maybe even years to figure themselves out. So do I think we'll see a negative quarter of GDP growth over the next year? Yes, I do. But do I think we're going to see 2 negative quarters to call it a recession? Well, that's going to be determined whether or not the Federal Reserve breaks the economy by hiking rates too quickly, or whether these geopolitical tensions last too long.
Well, I don't think they'll be faulted for moving too quickly, Dan. If they have any rap against them, that's they're behind the curve and moving too slowly. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's the case. Look, the Fed has really been missing this the entire time. As Luke was saying, when they started with this is only transitory, they were way off the mark. Let's really take a look at what's happening here. So as we're going into a period of raising interest rates and with the economy potentially slowing down, where is that going to take us? Well, it takes us into stagflation. Now, I don't know about whether it's 35% or 50% chance of a recession. Either way, we're headed in the wrong direction. And I also want to point this out, Neil. I know you were talking about it earlier in the show. Mortgage rates going up. Think about that. So now that is going to have a cooling effect on the real estate market, which is really going to cause issues because prices will come down. A lot of homeowners are now going to be underwater on their homes. So to me, that's the beginning of a bad economic trend.
Well, unless they bought very, very recently, the prospect of being underwater might be quite a feat at this point. But Luke, do you see that? I mean, the recent buyers who might have bought at a market top, I'm not saying it was or is, they might be dinged by this. I don't know about homeowners in general, though. What do you think?
So I do think that there's tons of demands in the housing market and supply is limited. So even with interest rates rising, I think that the housing market probably is going to remain pretty strong for the foreseeable future. Now 2, 3, 4 years down the road, could it cool down? Absolutely. But I still think we got some growth right now for the housing market. But in general, I mean, I'm taking a look at the yield curve right now, and it's starting to invert. You know, the 5-year and the 10-year, the 2-year and 10-year hasn't inverted yet. The Fed's now suggesting that they need to raise rates 6 or 7 times this year. I mean, it seems like that is enough to break the economy, and the inverted yield curve is suggesting that. So if you look at history, if you learn anything from history, it's that the bond market is smarter than the stock market. So that's why I think 2022 is the year you want to hit singles. You don't want to hit doubles, you don't want to hit triples, and you definitely don't want to try to hit home runs. You need to get away from the indices that own everything, because when you own everything, you own the winners and you own the losers. And winners are going to be harder to come by this year.
Dan, how do you feel about that? Those who just buy an index fund or anything like that, it's going to come back to bite them.
Well, you know, Neil, if we had that crystal ball to really know how things were going to play out on the market, look, I'm still bullish on what's going on in the stock market. And I think that people who may be jumping over into the bond market, probably going a little bit too soon. I still think that the market is the best game in town. Certainly you don't want to be sitting on cash, and to go into some of the short-term bonds. I just don't see that right now. We're seeing quite a bit of green there, and I think we do have more runway with equities right now.
All right, we'll watch it close, gentlemen. Thank you very, very much.